Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Weekly Awakening podcast. It's a week. We're starting this week off with Mercury Square Neptune, and we'll dive into that. But I know it showed up in my life. It probably showed up in a lot of other people's lives with misinformation, confusion, a little bit of arguments, kind of our illusion or disillusions coming out. So that's what we're dealing with today on Tuesday, December 7th. Again, I'll dive into that. We also have the moon Aquarius, moon enters Pisces. And then Venus conjunct Pluto, which begins, it's going to be a long transit, and I'll dive into that a little bit, but that begins on Saturday, December 11th. I think that's whatever December 11th is, either Saturday or Sunday. I think it's Saturday. But anyway, I hope everyone is having a fabulous morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you listen to this episode, and a good beginning of the week. Before we dive into those transits, I just want to remind everyone, please subscribe to whatever you listen to this on. Send it to a friend, listen to it, give it a review, whatever. Those things can really help out my podcast and my show now. Also follow me on my social media at Cosmic Colleen across the board, except Twitter has an underscore after Cosmic Colleen because someone already took that name. How dare they? Just kidding. All right. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. My motto, my weekly awakening, I'll jump into it, has been be here now. Be here now. This morning I did a sun meditation, which I definitely recommend. It's a good way to kind of snap out of something or put your mind in good perspective. You just go out into the sun. The sun was coming through a bright window, and I just sat there and let it hit my third eye chakra, let it hit my body, just go over me in the warmth and the sun and just renew, right? We do that with our crystals. We should be able to do that with ourselves. I mean, we should do that with ourselves. It really, really helps. And I repeated the mantra, be here now. Same with yesterday. I went to the gym, and what gets me through my workout is that I go into the sauna afterwards, which I love, and meditate. And I just said over and over again, be here now, be here now. That was my motto all weekend too, right? Mercury rolled, whatever it is. I'm constantly, more so in the future than I'm in the past. I'm a little bit in the past, but I'm always in the future, always future thinking, and I'm not living in the here today. Be here now. In fact, I think I'm getting a tattooed on my wrist soon. Be here now. That reminder, be here now. So if you're listening to that, be here now while you listen to this podcast. That's all we have. We have this moment. Everything can change in a moment after listening to this. When you get off, everything can change. So be here now. And how can you make the best of that moment? How do we go through life with an open heart, no matter what life throws at us? That's really been something I've been trying to figure out myself, right? I have, we can do the physical things. We can do our heart chakra meditations, our heart chakra openings. We can do all those nice things. We can write things down. But are we living it? Are we practicing it? It can be hard for me, right? We go through life and people break our trust. We enter into relationships, friendships, all kinds of things that deep down we know that is not for us. Or maybe we don't. Maybe it's just a path in life to teach us something, and we get hurt. And those hurt time and time again leads us not to trust people and leads us to meet people with a closed heart, not an open heart. How do we, no matter what life throws at us, how do we have an open heart? How do we remain open? How do we, when we enter new relationships, when we enter new friendships, when we enter new jobs, when we enter new people, how do we come at that with an open heart? Because when we have that closed heart, that's the energy we're putting out there, and that's what we're going to receive. That's the vibration we're at. We're at a closed heart vibration, and almost it's reoccurring. It's continuing to bring us those people, places, or things that closed our heart originally, right? Because that's why we're so feared up. We're thinking that. We're going over that. And so how do we come and how do we open up our heart no matter what life throws at us? And I think the answer to that is that we're here now, right? We're here now. And so when you meet someone, person, place, or thing, you enter a situation that you're nervous about, scared about, that you want to close your heart up to, say to yourself, be here now. Be here now. Is there any reason why I need to close my heart right now? Can I talk to this person? Can I walk into this building? Can I sit down with these people with an open heart? Because living in the past, projecting onto the future, closes that heart. So we go through life by treating every single situation with an open heart every new situation and saying, all I can do is be here now. That's all I can do. I can't do anything else. And I think that's the key. And the more we enter these situations and these people in these life, and we have an open heart and we say, be here now, the easier it is to get through life with that open heart, no matter what happens. Now, couple that with, definitely couple that with, your heart chakra meditations and aligning your heart chakra and other things like that. But don't forget to live with an open heart and to be here now. It's hard. It's hard for me, trust me, all the time. I have trouble maintaining friendships. I have trouble allowing myself to dive into new friendships, relationships, whatever it is, because I'm so scared, if I'm being honest and truthful. I'm so scared of being hurt. I'm so scared because I give. I'm not perfect, and I definitely in times have taken and I take, but I'm pretty even kill and give. I'm one of those people who enters relationships and I give more than I expect to receive. And that can be a beautiful thing, but that can be a hard thing. So I'm scared, right? I give people my all. I show them myself. I show them this is who they are. And particularly I'm talking about friendships. I'm a mess in relationships, and Ra and Capricorn Moon is working that through with me. But how can I do that? How can I flow? How can I trust? I get into a fight with someone and I leave. I block, I run, I'm done. Because I'm so scared of what I'm going to find out, or what truths are going to come from that, or it's going to melt down into some sort of crazy thing. Be here now. Be here now, Colleen. That is important. This weekend, I went to a celebration of life. It's interesting now. I think I actually enjoy this better, and this is what I want when I die, when I'm 88, is instead of having these viewings or these funerals. When my dad died, we had 3 days of viewings and then a funeral lunch afterwards. As now people are kind of having these dinners where we just celebrate. We don't need to view the person in the casket or whatever, the urn, whatever. We don't have to have these quiet moments in the church. We can just celebrate, bring people together. And so shout out to Patty, and we were celebrating her life. She was someone new who came into my life through the Capricorn Moon. It was one of their friends. And I only got to experience her a few times, a handful of times. And she was from Pittsburgh. And she every time made me feel like, I guess that's what I miss around here. She had that like, who are you? Welcome to my world. You're funny. You're this, you're that. She just had this extremely welcoming vibration and love that came from a genuine place. And I had been looking forward to getting to know her more and building that. She was right away, she was able to make fun of me. And to me, if you can make fun of me right away and be sarcastic, like you're in. That's what I love. That's like a deep relationship thing if you're not afraid to do that. And unfortunately, she passed away right before Thanksgiving. And so I just want to, take a moment to celebrate her and say, again, Patty, I only got to know you for a little bit, but you had such a big spirit and you were so welcoming, and you had that Pittsburgh, Western PA vibe that I miss so much around here that most people don't have. So thank you for giving me that. And it was tough, but it was definitely a much more fun way. People are laughing and people are talking fun memories about her and pictures and things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, honestly, the celebration of life. I said for me one day, I want a whole montage though. I want like a 30-minute montage of my best pictures and videos. And then I want a DJ, and then I want everyone to dance and laugh, and that's it. And then remember my fondest memories and be happy. And I think that the best way that anyone who passes away, that we can honor their memory, is by doing that, by living every day to the fullest. Being here now in this moment. That's the best way. All right, that's my weekly recap and everything. We jumped into the weekly awakening early. We'll get into the astrology of the week. Now, December, we're ending 2021 with a pretty big bang. We kind of started January of 2021 with a big bang, and we're ending it with a big bang. And again, as each week comes, I'll follow it, but first of all, the moon enters Aquarius. So during this time, I feel like there's a little more energy around, but there's also still this restriction. But there's also this wanting to do better, strive better, and also, humanitarian sort of complex. But the big thing today that started yesterday and is kind of finishing up tomorrow is Mercury square Neptune. Let me tell you, this morning I just got into a fight with someone. which happens Mercury because it's the way we communicate the planet. When it's squared things, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, whatever, it tends to bring some kind of, I don't know, conversation, communication, fall. Trying to find the word. I was like something like a backlog, not a backlog, but almost like a backfire. That's what I'm talking about, a backfire. And I knew in my heart, even though I wanted to, I say, don't do this right now. You know that the energy of the planets are not on your side. But you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to, and there it goes. And it turned into a big explosive fight that just did not really end well. But I'm sure it'll make up because this person and I are sometimes able to do that, fight, and then make up. But during this time, so watch out for that. If you feel like you want to tell someone off, if someone's really upsetting you and you're like, whatever, put the pause button on. Just wait. Wait till tomorrow. Wait till later tonight. Really think about your feelings. Am I jumping to reaction? Am I just reacting to say? Am I just wanting to be mean? Am I just yelling? Am I just whatever? Yesterday, also, as Mercury squared Neptune, I decided to quit smoking weed, medical marijuana. When it gets to my 10-year anniversary, as I spoke about last week, I was a heroin addict when I was younger. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more in an episode in January. But 3 years ago, on my ex-husband's and I wedding anniversary, we decided to smoke weed again after both of us had, I think, about 7, 8 years sober. And I did that, and it's been an interesting journey, right, through that. And the funny thing about medical marijuana is there's nothing wrong on the outside as opposed to other drugs, right? Like my bills are paid, I make a lot of money, I do well with the money, meaning, I'm not trying to say like, oh my God, I'm not rich by any means, but I do well for myself and my kids. And I bring that up because a lot of times with drug use, you're usually not making money. You don't have the work ethic. So I'm working, I'm doing things. My life on the outside is really great. Nothing has really ended, but it all comes to mental and emotional and spiritual. I feel like I am an addict. I have an addictive personality. That is very true. And what has proven to me for 3 years is that I just can't stop. So I just can't smoke weed. I have to smoke it all day. And I'll stop for a day, or I'll say, oh, I'm just going to do it at 12 o'clock. And then it's like goes back to the morning, middle night. And I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to smoke a vape pen. I only smoke flowers. So I'm not out smoking when I'm, out doing things. And then that still doesn't work, right? It always something. And what's been happening to me, and for this last year, I've been reflecting on stopping more than while I've been using every day, is because I already think way too much. I think way too damn much when I do that. Like I am thinking about my thoughts. I'm analyzing the thoughts that I'm already thinking, if that makes sense. And I'm going in and out. And I also feel like it's what's been holding me back. I think it keeps me stagnant in life. It keeps me, I don't know. I think it might be what's holding me back from the greatness of my podcast, the greatness of everything moving forward. I feel like, I try to go about life, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, and I hate that I need a substance to enjoy life. I'm like, yeah, let me go see this movie, but let me get stoned first. Let me go to the park with my kids, but let me get stoned first. Let me wake up in the morning and pray, but let me get stoned first. And that is what happens in my mind. And I know I enjoy life totally clean and sober, but I go through that. And so I said, you know what, yesterday I was done. I woke up crying. I'm like, I'm just done. I just know that this is holding me back, and maybe I won't be done forever, but I want to try to give it 30 days, right? That's what I did before, 30 days to see how I feel, to reset my brain. If anything, I'll get my tolerance is so high, I'll get that back. But I'm committing today, right? Be here today. Today, I'm now like 48 hours. No, that's not right. 38 hours without it, and I can feel it. So that added into me kind of getting a little bit crazy and wild. But the with Neptune, the illusion, it's the planet of like, it's Pisces. It's the otherworldly. Let me do this, let me do that. But it's also the planet of kind of substance, right? And substance abuse and things like that, and taking us out, right? It takes us out of our mind. It takes us out, and there's an delusion. And all of a sudden, it was like yesterday when Mercury squared Neptune, I just saw it. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to take a fucking break and see how I feel in 30 days from this. Maybe a week. Maybe I'll make a week, 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't want to put any pressure on myself. But that happened. So there might be that. You might be all of a sudden sick of your own bullshit, essentially, with Mercury squared Neptune. I'm sick of my own bullshit. Let me write that down because I did not, but I want to make a tweet about that. Sick of my own bullshit. So what are you sick of, right? What are you sick of that you're doing in your mind, you're communicating, you're saying, you're being? What are you sick of? Eventually that's what happens. You get sick of your own bullshit and then you want to change. So that some of those things might be coming up again, misinformation, confusion, things like that. When things are square, it tends to be more of not a great nature, right? Things are going to be a little bit tougher. There's friction. Now, with friction can bring good things, right? Maybe if you're someone who's really, really closed-minded, this might be a good time that you might find yourself more open-minded. Wednesday, we have that. So don't act abruptly. You might get some projects done. The moon enters Pisces on Thursday, and Saturday, December 11th, Venus conjunct Pluto. This is happening from the 5th to the 30th with a Pluto in retrograde. And let me tell you, the Pluto retrograde, I think, begins on the 19th. But why this transit is so long, we have Pluto, not a very fast-moving planet, with Venus, and it's going to be conjunct. And it will be exact on the 11th, but we're going to be feeling it for a few days beyond and after. Then it separates from Pluto, but we go retrograde, and then we go back to Pluto, and it conjoins again with Pluto on December 25th, Christmas Day. So that's why this is a very big, and then the day before, on Christmas Eve, we have the final Saturn squared Uranus, which kicked off in January. And then in the summer, and then we have it now. So this is kind of this is a big time. So with Venus conjunct Pluto, right? Let's talk about the good first. There's deep relationship transformation. Okay. There is an instant, if you're single or whatever, there's an instant bonding, deep emotional bonding, very like, oh my God, I met this person out and we just spent the last 50 hours together and we're having, and it feels like I've never had this connection before in my life. That's a very Venus conjunct Pluto. Karmic relationships come out. The karma of our relationships, of our actions come out. Jealousy. Now, so those are good. So we have some bonding. If you're in a relationship, you guys might be able to finally communicate about that deep, hard stuff. You might be able to see that deep, hard stuff. You might be able to sit in it, to be in it, to love in it, and just like grow from that transformation. Here's the other side that come with it. Now, conjunctions are more of a pleasant, right? It's not square, but it's very, very powerful because both planets are literally at the same degree in the same sign, and they're essentially touching each other, their energy. So again, that can go explosive and that can be beautiful. There's two different ways. So we have there can be jealousy during this time. There can be possessiveness, secrecy. Things might come out that from the underground that you didn't know was happening. You can expect to see some breakups. It's kind of both. You'll see the both extreme. You can see some breakups, maybe some surprising breakups. And then you can see some instant connections. And you're like, whoa, that person got together fast. Or, whoa, I can't believe that person broke up. I never thought that. There's a rebirthing and ending with this in some sort of way. Maybe you and your partner or significant other are able to get over a hump with something, right? Maybe this conjunction helped you have a deep transformation, have a deep talking, and be able to end a pattern together and move ahead together in a new way. There's a rebirth and ending of, again, love is a big thing. We look to Venus, but there's also our creative projects, our friendships. So that same stuff can happen, right? With those other things as well, our joy. So there might be a rebirth and ending in some sort of creative project. You might finally have a deep transformation in that. And same with friendships, right? Again, deep transformation with your friendship. You might end a friendship. You might see that your friend did not have your back. You might see, possessiveness of a friend. At the same time, you might also have a better healing bond. Again, it's the conjunction is a better than a square as far as like feeling like good or bad, but it's even more powerful. But because we have Pluto, the planet of death and the underworld, conjoining with Venus, the planet of love, joy, and happiness, it's a big dynamic play. And then it's happening again, and it's retrograde. So there's going to be a lot of shifts, changes, and growing in that. Just want to be prepared. And then on Sunday, December 12th, we have Sun square Neptune. And again, a lot of Neptunian energy this week. But when the Sun is square Neptune, it's more so, you can see it in your own life, but you'll see it more, not as personal, more in your daily life path or purpose, right? There might be a scandal at work that all of a sudden comes out. Someone you worked with, you didn't realize, and this happened. You're probably going to see more scandals in the news during that time. When we have Sun transit, you'll kind of see it out in the world, right? Like a celebrity cheated on so-and-so during this time, or Bernie Madoff, someone like Bernie Madoff came and stole everyone's money. Some sort of thing like that can happen with Sun square Neptune. So just be prepared when you look out there and just be like, oh, okay. You'll say, oh, that's Sun square Neptune. Okay. Again, scandals, the illusion being lifted, disillusion, those things are going to happen. Now, again, I hope everyone has a wonderful Tuesday. I want to share one last little story I wanted to with this. It's such a sweet. Now, my son Abram, he's going to be 8. He's an Aquarius rising and a Libra moon. He's extremely giving. That's the Libra moon, very loving, and he's very compassionate, and he has a very big heart when it comes to homeless people. Like, he is so disturbed by it. I think I've talked about it on here. Like, every time we see help, how can we help? He always be like, I don't understand how, he says to me, I don't understand how there's homeless people, but there's billionaires. Why isn't there stores for homeless people where they can, whatever. I think the kid's going to change a lot of things in the world. But he comes home, and this is a very Aquarius. Yesterday, comes right off the bus, comes to me, and he's like, we have to go back to the one gas station that's by our house. He's like, I saw a homeless person on the bus. He had a sign and everything, and he's behind the building, and I want to give him my own money. I want to go in and give him $30 of my own money. Not even asking. And like right away, that was the first thing that he's like, I'm so upset that he's there and he needs money. And, I can't really explain. Again, I am giving. Some people don't agree with that. I give homeless people money, because I know even if they use it for drugs, I know what it's like to be on the streets wanting drugs. So, and I didn't explain that to him. And so he got the $30, and we went to the gas station. I had to get gas. He's like, let's go. We walk up there, and definitely some homeless people camp out. And when I tell you, we saw probably 300 cans of White Claw, and there was a guy sitting there, but it was a different guy. Oh, that was my computer. Sorry. There was a different guy, and I'm walking up, and he's like smoking a cigarette on his phone. I realized he had, and when I got closer, I was like, oh, excuse me. And my son's like, are you homeless? And then he was like, he had a Giant, like worked at Giant. He's like, oh, no, God, no. And I was like, okay, sorry to like bother you. We just wanted to help someone that we saw back here. My son wanted to help someone, and he kind of laughed. And then we went to the gas station, and the guy did say that there are sometimes homeless people that hang out back there. I was like, well, they hang out and fucking party with that White Claw back there. But nevertheless, that kind of giving, loving, and that's so important when we see these things in our kids, to harness that, to love that. If you're Aquarius, have some Aquarius vibes, you probably feel very similar. Again, it's about giving. They want to give, they want to help, and the underserved, they like to make things fair. That's very Libra moon too. They want to make things fair across the board for people. So I just want to share that heartwarming story. He's such a lover. He really is. But thank you, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful day, a beautiful week. I hope this podcast finds you well, and don't argue, and don't say anything. Okay. Love you all. Bye.